Okay, just a quick update on my Ledboard driver. Just playing around a little bit with the with a little bit of a design here that included an SD card. Seemed to work okay, so I took it to the next level and actually designed up a printed circuit board, dedicated board for this little mess of wires, and found a cheap provider online called IT, and they did me up 10 boards for a bit over $10. So I thought that was fairly good. I had to squeeze everything into a 5x5cm footprint for that price. As this was my first ever commercial board, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, and I didn't want to risk going to a bigger board and spending more money if it was going to be a lemon. So I just went to the cheapest option, and yeah, so for about $14 or $15 including postage, I got 10 of these puppies made. I've actually supplied 12. But the standard quote's for 10, so yeah, that's that board is definitely a lot cleaner than the breadboard layout. So yeah, the board design turned out okay. Yeah, a couple of things I've learnt since designing this board. I probably had a couple of tracks in that were a little bit too close to pins. I was getting a bit sneaky there, and in tracks in between pins of the Atmega. That definitely made it didn't make the soldering too bad. We had a solder mask to protect us, but still it's all getting a little bit tight. I also had a bug in my design where I one of the digital pins going up to the Ledboard output up here, instead of going to the MOSI pin, the master out slave in, I accidentally went back to the MISO pin, the master in slave out. So it was a bit of a bummer, getting all this done and then actually having a bug in my design. So anyway, we soldered her up, and this is what it looks like soldered up. And as you can see, that there is a lot cleaner than that, obviously. So it's got on board voltage reg, so I can run off the same 12-volt supply as the Ledboard. It's got a little LED there to show when it's reading from the SD card. It's not at the moment. It only reads it. The SD card and the Ledboard both use the SPI bus. So while it's actually reading from the card, the display is actually disabled. So I have to do batch runs from the card. Also, the Atmega's pretty tight on RAM. I've got a K of RAM, and obviously this Ledboard driver is getting fairly, let's say it's not so lightweight anymore, and there's not a lot of buffer space left to load things. So basically with the design now that you put things in blocks of messages, and the Arduino will read messages a block at a time, and yeah, because the screen does go blank in between the reads. As I mentioned, there was a design fault, so I've just dodged something up for the moment with a jumper wire going from, luckily one of the vias actually has the track that I wanted, and I've just dabbed it on the bottom of the pin for the moment. I'm not going to use that socket long term. I'm waiting for another socket to come in. That's why it's not actually soldered in properly at the moment. That particular socket actually rubs up against the Atmega socket, so it's a little bit tight. So yeah, I'm going to get some right angle sockets, and that'll give me a lot more room there for the socket. The socket will come out at 90 degrees there, the cable I mean, so that'll be easier to put in the case, as well as I'll have some exposed sort of pins or exposed wires going into the back of the socket that I can put a better solution for that cable than I've got at the moment, but just so I can test the board and test my software. I've dodged something up. Yeah, so right now that's just running a standard set of messages that are actually in one of the demo projects that I've included with the library now. But yeah, that I haven't done full load testing, but hopefully you should be able to fill the SD card up with messages, and this little puppy would just scroll through them all. But what I've got on the board, I've just got direct serial pins. I've included a DTR, and that DTR goes through a capacitor, so it'll auto reset when you try to upload firmware. I'm sick of trying to reset it manually and getting the timing right. It's not overly difficult, but it is an extra tedious step in there, so it's worth figuring out how the DTR line works. So they're just direct serial pins, and I've got this little FTTDI UART. I actually got it from Hobby King. They're about $5, and that gives me all the pins I need. It's got, oops, upside down, but you can see there it's got the DTR pin in there as well. Soldiered up a little jumper cable. Right, as for the software, I've found a whole pile of new bugs related to my first draft of the SD based sort of software, so hopefully I've gotten rid of most of those bugs. Also, a couple of people have actually asked for the software, so to make it a bit easier and maybe even get more people access to the software, I've created a Sourceforge repository. So I've called it Advatell Ledboard, sort of like an Arduino Advatell based Ledboard Driver. Sourceforge /project/ARDVT Ledboard. You'll see the latest copy of the software up there. Hopefully people will jump on there and download it, let me know if they find any bugs. I've tried to comment the code a little bit more because I know it was fairly poorly commented before. Yeah, so if you're interested, if you've got one of these old chunky lead boards, you should be able to get the code. One of the main reasons for this post is to really show off my new printed circuit boards. I'm pretty happy with that. As you can see, I've got a couple of them there. I don't need them all, so I'm pretty happy to get rid of a couple if anyone wants some. Yeah, a couple of bucks each, sort of thing, and that'll pay for my batch of boards. As I said, there's a minor glitch with the design. You have to cut a track and wire one thing up, but apart from that, it's pretty well custom designed for the lead board, and an SD card reader. The SD card reader is optional, but there's only so much you can do with hard-coded messages, unless you want to run the whole thing off serial, I suppose. If you want to lug around a PC. Yeah, anyway, for now that's it. Don't forget, I've got the Sourceforge project up. I'll put the link at the bottom of this video, so please check it out if you're interested. If you've got one of these boards, check it out, leave me a comment, drop me an email, whatever. Thanks heaps.